What if I told you that the one thing holding you back is simply telling people what you're planning to do? Have you ever noticed how people who stay quiet seem to make the biggest moves, while the loudest talkers often fade away? There's a secret in plain sight that no one talks about, and today I'm going to pull back the curtain. Ever wondered why your motivation fizzles out right after you tell someone your big goal? Think about it. You get that spark of inspiration. Maybe you want to start a business, lose weight, write a book, or completely change your life. You're so excited you want to tell everyone, and you do. And for a moment, it feels incredible. People are impressed. They nod, they clap, maybe they say, "Wow, that's amazing." But then, slowly, something changes inside you. The fire that once burned so bright begins to dim. The drive to act starts slipping away. But why does this happen? And is there a better way? Today, I'm going to show you the hidden power of silence. Why holding back your plans might be the missing piece you never realized you needed. You'll find out what really goes on in your brain when you share your dreams, why the world's top achievers often work in secret, and how you can use this to turn your ideas into real, unstoppable action. And along the way, I'll share stories, a little science, and some mistakes you'll probably recognize from your own life. And by the end of this video, you'll see why silence isn't just golden, it's rocket fuel for your biggest goals. But here's the twist. This isn't just about staying quiet for the sake of it. It's about building real momentum, protecting your dreams, and setting yourself up for those jaw-dropping moments where people ask, "How did you do that without anyone knowing?" If you've ever shared a plan and watched it fall apart, or felt drained by other people's opinions, this is the video you can't afford to miss. Ready to discover what most people never figure out until it's too late. Let's dive in. Let's be real. Almost everyone loves to talk about their big dreams. Whether it's launching a side hustle, running a marathon, or moving to a new city, there's something about telling people that just feels good, right? You feel seen, you feel important, you feel like you're already halfway there just by announcing it. But here's what most people never notice. That happy rush you get from talking about your plans isn't progress. It's just a quick hit of dopamine. Your brain actually tricks you, making you feel like you've achieved something before you've even started. It's like celebrating at the starting line, while the real race hasn't even begun. Have you ever had a friend who talked and talked about writing a novel, or starting a business, or quitting their job to travel the world? Every time you see them, they've got a new update or a new twist to the plan, but somehow, months or even years go by, and nothing actually changes. The story always stays in the one-day category. Here's the wild part. Science has shown this is way more common than you think. There was a study by a psychologist named Peter Goldwitzer. He found that when people announce their intentions publicly, they're actually less likely to follow through, because talking about the goal gives them the exact same feeling as working on the goal, and that makes it way too easy to put off the hard work. So why do we do it? Because we're human. We crave recognition, approval. A little applause never hurts. But in reality, sharing too soon can actually rob you of the grit you need to keep going. It's like opening the oven and letting all the heat escape before the cake is baked. What's left is just half finished and maybe a little flat. The truth is, it's easy to get swept up in the excitement of a new idea, and sharing it feels like action. But that's just a trick our mind plays on us. Real action happens when nobody's watching, when you're quietly making progress, not just talking about what you plan to do someday. And honestly, it doesn't matter if your dream is big or small. The pull to talk about it is always there. Maybe you want to prove yourself. Maybe you want advice. Or maybe you're just excited and need to let it out. But if you always reach for validation before you reach for results, you might end up with a pile of almosts and maybes instead of anything real. In a minute, I'll show you why the people who say the least often achieve the most, and how you can use that secret starting right now. Let's dig a little deeper, because this isn't just advice from some old school motivational speaker. There's real science behind why sharing your goals too soon can actually sabotage your success. Remember that psychologist I mentioned earlier, Peter Goldwitzer? He ran a series of experiments with students. He asked them to write down their biggest ambitions, but he split them into two groups. One group was told to keep their goals to themselves, just quietly focus and get to work. The other group had to stand up, share their plans with the room, and talk about all the things they were going to do. Guess what happened next? The people who kept quiet pushed further, worked longer, and actually got more done. But the people who announced their plans to everyone, they felt satisfied too soon. It was like their brains checked the box without doing any of the real work. That's why so many people get stuck in this loop. They post about a new habit, a business, a fitness journey, and for a minute, they get likes, comments, maybe even a few cheers. But after that high fades, they start to lose steam. Before long, the excitement is gone, and so is the motivation. But the work is still there, waiting, and it's harder than ever to get started. Here's the real kicker. Your mind can't always tell the difference between words and action. When you say, "I'm going to do this," you get a taste of the reward. Your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical you get when you actually achieve something. But since nothing real has happened, you end up losing the drive to push through the tough parts. It's like your reward system is working against you. I'll never forget a story a friend told me. He wanted to run a marathon. He was so excited he told everyone. He made posts, talked about it at every dinner, even bought fancy shoes. But after all the buzz died down, he found himself running less and less. The goal just faded away. He had already felt the glory of finishing, but without any of the sweat. In the end, he never signed up for the race. It sounds strange, but it happens all the time. Maybe you felt it yourself. The excitement that comes from sharing a big idea, only to have it slowly fizzle out. That's the trap. Your mind is playing tricks. It's giving you the feeling of winning without ever crossing the finish line. So, how do you break free from that cycle? The answer is simpler than you think, and in just a moment, you'll see why some of the world's most successful people are the quietest ones in the room. So what happens when you choose silence instead of sharing? It might feel odd at first, almost like you're hiding something. But what you're really doing is planting a seed and giving it a chance to grow. Think about it. When you plant a tiny seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to show everyone. You let it sit in the dark, you water it, you let it grow roots, all in secret. And then, when it's strong enough, it bursts through the surface, surprising everyone who never saw it coming. The same thing happens with your goals. When you keep them close, you're not hiding, you're protecting. You're letting your dream get strong before it faces the world. And trust me, the world can be rough on dreams that aren't ready. But when you wait, when you work in silence, you build momentum. You start seeing small wins, and those add up. Every little step you take adds to the strength of that dream. Until one day, people can't help but notice, because your results are right in front of them. Let me tell you about a woman named Sarah. She worked a regular 9-to-5 job, but at night, she taught herself to code. She didn't post about it, she didn't tell her friends, she just kept at it night after night. While others were scrolling and chatting, she was quietly building her skills. Months later, she landed a dream job at a top tech company. Everyone was shocked. "How did you do that?" they asked. She just smiled and said, "I was working while no one was watching." Her success seemed sudden. I was working while no one was watching. Her success seemed sudden, but it was years in the making. That's the magic of quiet work. While everyone is busy talking, you're actually building, and when your moment comes, it lands like a thunderclap. Nobody expects it, but nobody can ignore it either. Your results speak louder than any announcement ever could. But that's not all. Staying quiet gives you freedom. You get to change your mind, try new things, and fail privately without anyone watching. You're not under pressure to explain every little change. You can mess up, learn, and pivot, and no one's there to judge. That makes the whole journey less stressful and a lot more fun. It's not about being secretive or sneaky. It's about giving yourself space to grow, just like a plant in the greenhouse, away from storms and hungry birds. When you're ready, you'll show the world, and they'll be amazed, not by what you promised, but by what you delivered. In a second, we'll talk about why sharing your dreams too soon can actually invite trouble, even from people who mean well, and how you can protect your fire from getting blown out before it's even burning. Here's something most people never see coming. The moment you start telling everyone your plans, you open the door to a whole bunch of things you probably never wanted. Some people will doubt you, others will try to help, but end up confusing you, and a few might even envy you. Sometimes without even knowing it, every comment, every sideways glance, every question like, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" starts to chip away at your excitement. Little by little, your bright idea feels smaller, and the fire you felt at the start starts to fade. You might think, well, isn't it good to get feedback? And yes, advice is great, but only at the right time and from the right people. If your idea is brand new and still growing, outside opinions can be like a cold wind blowing on a tiny flame. It doesn't take much to snuff it out. Even when people mean well, their doubts can plant seeds of worry in your head. Suddenly you're second-guessing yourself. Or you start tweaking your plan just to please others, and before you know it, you're off track. There's another risk too. When you talk about your goal, it becomes public, and now everyone is watching to see what you'll do next. That might sound motivating at first, but it can also feel like carrying a heavy backpack everywhere you go. Every stumble or change of heart feels like a public failure, not just a private lesson. You lose the freedom to try, to fail, and to start over without a spotlight on you. And let's be honest, sometimes people just want to bring you down. Maybe they're jealous. Maybe your ambition reminds them of what they never did. So instead of cheering you on, they throw little jabs or doubts. It might sound harmless, but it can really mess with your head. Suddenly, your energy is spent defending your dream instead of building it. I remember a time I told a friend about a new project I was excited about. At first, he seemed supportive, but every time we talked, he found a new problem with my plan. Pretty soon, I started seeing only the problems, not the possibilities. Before long, I gave up on the whole thing, and honestly, I wish I'd just kept it to myself a little longer. The truth is, early sharing can leave your dream out in the open, unprotected, and too fragile to survive the storm of other people's opinions. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is give your idea a safe, quiet space to grow strong before you show it to the world. Next, I'll show you how action, not words, is what really builds confidence, momentum, and results, and why letting your success speak for itself is the most powerful move you can make. So here's where things get interesting. When you stop talking and start doing, something shifts inside you. Every little step you take, no matter how small, is like adding fuel to your own fire. You build momentum, the kind that nobody can give you and nobody can take away, because it's yours, built from your own effort. There's a saying, let your success make the noise, and it's true. Imagine two people. One talks all day about how they're going to launch a business. They post about it, make big promises, maybe even get a few fans. But months go by and nothing changes. The other person, meanwhile, says nothing, but spends each day learning, trying, fixing mistakes. They show up quietly, keep working, and let their results speak. Guess who people respect in the end? It's always the quiet builder, not the loud dreamer. That's because real confidence comes from doing the work, not just talking about it. Every time you finish a small task, you prove to yourself that you can handle more. And that proof is way more valuable than 1,000 likes or pats on the back. Soon, you don't need other people's approval because you know what you're capable of. And the funny thing is, that's when other people finally notice, not because you told them, but because they can't ignore what you've done. Building in silence also means you get to enjoy the journey. You're not racing to impress anyone, you're just focused on making things happen. And when you finally share your results, the impact is huge. Because people see the finished product, not just another promise. Your actions have weight, and that's what inspires others. Not empty words, but proof that quiet, steady effort really works. In just a bit, I'll talk about when sharing can actually help and how to do it without losing your fire or focus. But first, let's look at the kind of people you should trust with your plans and when it's safe to let others in. So you might be wondering, is it ever good to share your dreams? Is there a time when telling someone actually helps you go further? The answer is yes, but only with the right people and at the right moment. Think of your dream like a tiny plant. You wouldn't bring it out in a storm, but you might let a trusted gardener see it and help it grow. Sometimes, sharing with a mentor or a close friend can give you support and guidance you'd never get alone. The trick is to choose people who believe in you, who know how to help without taking over, and who won't judge you if you change your mind or take longer than you planned. These are the people who listen more than they talk, who ask questions, and who know how to give honest, helpful feedback without crushing your spirit. It's also about timing. Sharing too soon is like opening the oven before your cake is ready. But if you wait until your dream has a solid foundation, when you've already made some progress, then outside support can be the boost that takes you to the next level. Accountability works best when you're already moving forward, not when you're just dreaming out loud. And remember, you don't have to share every detail. Sometimes it's enough to say, I'm working on something new. I'll tell you more when I'm ready. That way, you keep your energy close. You don't open yourself up to too many opinions, and you control the story. You get to decide when and how you share your journey. The point is, choose your audience carefully, guard your focus, and let support in only when you're ready. Your dreams deserve that kind of respect. Up next, I'll show you how to protect your motivation and keep your fire burning, even when you feel like telling the whole world what you're working on. If you want your dreams to grow, you have to protect your motivation. That means keeping your energy focused on action, not on talking. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement and want to shout your plans from the rooftops, but the more you save that energy for real work, the more powerful your results will be. One of the best ways to do this is by writing down your goals, but keep them private. Put them in a notebook or type them in your phone. Seeing your dreams in writing makes them real to you, not just a passing thought. And every time you check off a small win, you build momentum. You prove to yourself that you can actually do what you set out to do. Another way to protect your focus is to set mini deadlines. Break your big dream into tiny steps and quietly celebrate each one. This way, you keep moving forward, and the progress becomes its own reward. If you ever feel tempted to share your plans just for the attention, pause and ask yourself, am I looking for approval or am I looking for real change? That one question can save you a lot of wasted energy. Also, remember to visualize your progress. Take a moment each day to picture yourself succeeding. See it in your mind before anyone else ever sees it in real life. That keeps your fire burning from the inside, not from other people's words. Finally, don't beat yourself up if you slip and share your plans sometimes. We all do it. The important thing is to catch yourself, refocus, and get back to work. Dreams are built step by step, not post by post. The more you act, the brighter your fire will burn. Next, let's face the real problem most people never talk about: how it feels when you share your dream, and suddenly, your motivation is gone. Picture this. You finally get the courage to tell your friends or family about your big dream. Maybe it's starting your own business, going back to school, running a marathon, or anything that matters to you. At first, their reactions feel amazing. You hear words like, "Wow, that's impressive," or "Good for you, you got this." And for a moment, your heart feels full. It's like you're standing in the spotlight, soaking in the applause. But then, as the days pass, you start to notice something different. The excitement you had at the beginning isn't as strong anymore. You feel a little less fired up to do the hard work. Sometimes, you even start to doubt yourself. Maybe someone made a small comment like, "Are you sure that's possible?" Or, "I knew someone who tried that and it didn't work." It sticks in your mind, whether you want it to or not. Suddenly, what was once your bright idea now feels a little heavier. Every time you think about taking action, you remember those voices, and you feel the pressure to prove yourself. But instead of pushing you forward, that pressure actually slows you down. Your motivation starts to disappear. Your energy fades, and what was once a dream you were excited to chase now feels far away. Most people never talk about this feeling, the quiet letdown after the excitement wears off. But if you've ever shared a plan and felt your motivation drop, you know exactly what I mean. It's frustrating, it's confusing, and it can even make you want to give up before you really begin. In the next part, I'll show you how to turn that feeling around, how to get your focus and energy back, and how to use your setbacks as the fuel that drives you forward. Let's pause for a second and really think about this. When was the last time you told someone about a big idea, a goal, or something you wanted to change in your life? Did you follow through, or did you notice your excitement fading away? Maybe you even felt embarrassed the next time someone asked, "How's that going?" and you had to admit you hadn't started. If you're nodding right now, you're definitely not alone. Almost everyone has felt this at some point. The good news is, you can change the way you handle your dreams from now on. Instead of chasing that quick buzz from talking, Start building real pride by quietly working on your goals. Shift your mindset away from needing a crowd to clap for you, and instead focus on making yourself proud with what you actually finish. It's a lot more satisfying to show up with real results than with empty promises. Here's a simple step-by-step plan for next time you feel the urge to announce something big. First, write it down just for you. Make it as detailed or as simple as you want. Second, break it into small, doable steps. Then give yourself a tiny reward each time you hit one of those steps. Finally, if you really need to tell someone, choose one person you trust who'll cheer you on no matter what, not someone who'll second-guess every move you make. It's also powerful to ask yourself, why do I want to share this? If it's because you're looking for support and guidance, that's fine. Just be picky about who you let in. But if it's just for a quick dose of attention, pause and pour that energy into the next step of your plan instead. Trust me, it will pay off. And most importantly, if you slip up and overshare, don't beat yourself up. Just catch it, take a deep breath, and get back to working quietly. Every new day is a chance to move closer to what you want, with or without anyone watching. In just a moment, I'll give you the key moment that ties this all together. A story of how real, quiet action can change everything, and what you can do to surprise even yourself. Let me share a story that really opened my eyes to how powerful quiet action can be. There was a guy named Mike who dreamed of starting his own business. He didn't post about it. He didn't even tell most of his friends, while others were talking online about their big plans. Mike was learning in silence. Every day after work, he chipped away at his project. Sometimes he failed, sometimes he got frustrated, but nobody was watching, so he could try again and again without feeling embarrassed or rushed. Months went by, and still nobody knew what he was building. Then one day, he launched his business. Out of nowhere, it seemed. Suddenly, he had a real store, real customers, and real money coming in. His friends and family were shocked. "When did this happen?" they asked. "How did you do all this without anyone knowing?" Mike just smiled and said, "I wanted to let my work speak for itself." That moment, when he could finally show what he'd built, was 100 times sweeter than all the empty praise he could have gotten from talking. That's the kind of feeling that lasts, the quiet pride you earn by proving something to yourself, not just talking about it. You don't need to wait for someone else's approval. You don't need applause to get started. And when you do finally show what you've done, the impact is real. Nobody can take that away from you. And here's what might surprise you most. It's not just about shocking the world. It's about surprising yourself. Realizing how far you've come, how much you've grown, and how strong you really are. When you focus on action, not words, you make progress that lasts, and you become the kind of person who quietly achieves what others only talk about. Now, let's bring everything together, and I'll show you how to take all these ideas and turn them into a daily habit that pushes you toward your biggest goals, even when nobody's watching. So here's what it all comes down to. Keeping your plans to yourself isn't about being secretive. It's about protecting your focus, saving your energy, and giving your dreams a real chance to grow strong. Every step you take in silence is a step that builds your confidence from the inside, not from someone else's words. You've learned why sharing your dreams too soon can steal your motivation. You've seen the science, you've heard the stories, and you know now that action, not talk, is what leads to real results. When you keep your work private, you set yourself free to try, to fail, to learn, and to win, all without the weight of other people's opinions. And when you finally do share your achievements, your results will speak so loudly that nobody can ignore them. Remember, your silence is not weakness, it's strength. You're not hiding from the world. You're just getting ready to shock it with what you can really do. Don't chase applause, chase real progress, and let your actions do all the talking. This is the secret that so many successful people use, and now you can use it too. Now, before you go, let's finish with a challenge. Write down one dream or goal you haven't told anyone about. Keep it just for you. Take the first step today and see how far you can go when nobody's watching. And if you're curious about the next mindset shift that will help you reach your goals even faster, check out the next video on your screen right now.